Think about the last time you were lying in bed at 2 o'clock a.m. The room is pitch black, but your face is illuminated by that familiar, pale blue glow of a smartphone screen. You're exhausted, your eyes are burning, but for some reason, your brain feels like it's just had a double shot of espresso. It's a modern paradox we've all accepted as normal, but what if I told you that this simple act of scrolling is actually rewriting your biological code in real time?
It's a profound shift in the human experience. For nearly all of human history, our biology was dictated by a very simple, very reliable rhythm, the rising and setting of the sun. Our brains evolved to treat light as an instruction manual. Morning light meant activate, and darkness meant recover. But in the last few decades, we've essentially fired the sun and replaced it with LED panels and OLED screens. We've moved away from biological rhythm and into a state of chronic circadian confusion.
Circadian confusion. That's a heavy term. It feels like we're living in a state of permanent jet lag, even if we haven't left our zip code in months. Is it just about feeling a bit groggy the next day, or is there something more fundamental happening inside our cells when we disrupt this clock?
It's much deeper than just feeling tired. Inside your brain, specifically in the hypothalamus, there's a tiny structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the SCN. Think of it as the master conductor of a massive biological orchestra. This SCN regulates everything: your body temperature, your metabolism, your immune response, and the release of hormones like cortisol and melatonin. When you blast your eyes with blue light at midnight, you're essentially walking up to that conductor and screaming that it's actually noon. The orchestra gets confused. The violins are playing a frantic allegro while the cellos are trying to sleep. That internal chaos is what we call circadian misalignment.
So when we talk about morning light, it's not just about the vibe of a sunny morning or getting a bit of vitamin D. You're saying it's actually a synchronization event for the brain?
Exactly. It's biological programming. When that early day sunlight hits your retinas, it triggers a specific surge in cortisol, the good kind of cortisol that wakes you up and focuses your mind. But more importantly, it sets a timer for the release of melatonin about 14 to 16 hours later. If you miss that morning light, your brain doesn't quite know when the day has started, which means it won't know when the night should begin. You're essentially drifting through your day without an anchor.
That explains why so many of us feel like zombies until lunch. And then suddenly, right when we should be winding down at 10 or 12 p.m., we get the second wind. We're wired but tired. It's like the body is exhausted, but the brain is stuck in an override mode.
That wired but tired state is a perfect description of a nervous system that has lost its rhythm. When you're staring at a screen late at night, you aren't just looking at a picture, you're consuming blue-enriched light. This specific wavelength is incredibly effective at suppressing melatonin. In fact, research shows that even a short duration of screen time can delay your melatonin peak by hours. And it's not just the light, it's the dopamine. The infinite scroll, the notifications, the work emails, they all keep your sympathetic nervous system in a state of high alert. You're asking your brain to run a marathon and go to sleep at the same time.
It's fascinating because we often treat sleep as something that just happens when we close our eyes, like flipping a switch. But based on what you're saying, sleep is actually the final result of a process that started the moment we woke up. It's a 24-hour cycle. If I'm tracking my health, say through something like an OXYZEN ring, and I see my heart rate variability, or HRV, tanking after a night of late-night binging on a series, is that the circadian disruption showing up in the data?
Absolutely. HRV is a window into your autonomic nervous system. When your circadian rhythm is out of sync, your body stays in a fight or flight dominant state for longer. Your heart rate stays slightly elevated during the night, and your HRV stays low because your body isn't actually recovering. It's just trying to manage the stress of being awake when it shouldn't be. When you look at your OXYZEN data and see a low readiness score after a night of screen exposure, that's your nervous system telling you that it never got into that deep, restorative, parasympathetic state. It's the difference between a car being parked in a garage and a car idling in the driveway all night. Both are off, but only one is actually resting.
I love that analogy. It feels like we've become addicted to these mini suns in our pockets. We evolved watching sunsets, which are full of warm, low-energy oranges and reds that signal the end of the day. Now, we've replaced the sunset with a high-energy blue light flood. It's almost like we're trying to hack a system that's been perfected over millions of years of evolution. Is there a way to actually fix this? Or are we too far gone in our digital world?
The beauty of the human body is that the circadian system is highly plastic. It's trainable. You can reset your clock. The most powerful intervention is also the simplest. Get outside within 30 minutes of waking up. Even if it's cloudy, the photon density of natural light is significantly higher than any office lamp. Then, as the sun goes down, implement a digital sunset. Dim the lights in your house, put the phone away, and let your brain experience darkness. We've forgotten that darkness is a biological requirement for health, not just the absence of light.
It's interesting how the most high-tech health advice often ends up being the most low-tech lifestyle change. We spend thousands on supplements and gadgets, but the real biohack is just standing in the sun and turning off the TV. But I suppose that's where the data comes in. Having something like OXYZEN helps you actually see the invisible damage you're doing, which makes it harder to ignore.
Precisely. Wearables shouldn't just be about counting steps, they should be about health intelligence. When you can see the direct correlation between your morning walk and your improved sleep quality, or between your late-night scrolling and your plummeting HRV, it changes your behavior. It moves health from a vague concept to a visible, manageable rhythm. We have to remember that the body functions optimally through rhythm, not chaos.
It makes me wonder about the long-term cost of this chaos. If we're constantly pushing against our biology, it's not just about being sleepy. We're talking about metabolism, glucose regulation, even how our bodies handle inflammation. It's like we're slowly eroding the foundation of our health because we want to see one more video or answer one more email.
You're hitting on a very deep point. Chronic circadian disruption is linked to almost every modern metabolic and cardiovascular issue. When the master clock is off, every sub-clock in your liver, your heart, and your muscles starts to drift. It's a systemic breakdown. But the flip side is also true. When you align yourself with the natural cycle of light and dark, you're not just sleeping better, you're allowing your entire biological system to function the way it was designed to. You're giving your body the recovery window. It needs to repair DNA, clear out metabolic waste, and regulate your mood.
It's a return to basics, but with a modern understanding of why those basics matter. We don't have to live in caves, but we do have to respect the caveman biology that still lives inside us. It's about finding that balance between our 24-hour digital connectivity and our ancient need for a quiet, dark night.
Exactly. The future of health isn't about escaping our biology, it's about using technology to help us return to it. We use these advanced sensors to remind us of the simple truths: light in the morning, darkness at night, and a respect for the rhythms that keep us alive.
That's a powerful thought to end on. Maybe tonight, instead of that one last scroll, we can all try to give our master conductors a break and let the orchestra finally get some rest. It's not just about fixing your sleep, it's about reclaiming your biology.
And once you start feeling that natural rhythm again, you'll realize that no screen can compete with the feeling of a nervous system that is truly in sync. It's the ultimate performance enhancer, and it's been available to us since the dawn of time. We just had to remember to look up from our phones and see the sun.